Welcome to Inside Plug, the podcast where independent creators and entrepreneurs connect and inspire. I'm Devon Jones, a military veteran turned filmmaker. I found my spark in the military and now I'm here to help you find yours. Inside Plug is a platform for your voice, stories to be shared, and ideas to flourish. Let's dive in and plug into creativity and entrepreneurship together. Today on our podcast, we have Carona Davis-Diop. She's a producer, writer, and director. She was born in Brooklyn and raised in Greenwich Village, New York. She has an interest in horror, supernatural, and mystery genres. She worked on a few short films. She's working on a feature film, and she also worked on a web series. Carona, welcome to the show.
Hey, Devin, how you doing, man? I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, glad to have you on. So briefly how we met. So you have a podcast yourself called Black Filmmakers Matter, and you interviewed me, and me sharing my story on your platform was like the the greatest thing that a filmmaker, a creator, I'm a writer, can have, because to share your story, you understand how much it goes into creating a piece of content, and then putting that content out there, and then getting that content reviewed by others to keep you motivated to do another piece of content or even explore a different avenue. So your podcast helped me as well as other creators. Now I have this podcast, and I asked you to be a guest on this podcast, and now it's kind of like the tables are turned. So just curious, as a podcast host, have you ever been in, interviewed on other people's podcasts, or have like a podcast inspire you to start your podcast?
I've never been, this is my first podcast interview.
Nice. All
So,
right.
um, we started Black Filmmakers Matter in October. So it's fairly a new baby. I'm a writer, I'm a filmmaker. I never thought in a million years I would be doing a podcast. But I love it. I love talking to people. I love networking. I love meeting new faces, getting new I love this.
So with the podcast, how so you started in October, and so how do you how do you go about navigating getting like the guests on your podcast? Like, um is it like certain type of filmmakers? Are they in like a certain genre? Are they um how do you and the filmmakers connect?
A lot of research. The work is hard. So um the best way it would be two or more people on your team helping with that type of production. I have two podcasts. I have a magazine podcast and I have Black Filmmakers Matter. Now the magazine podcast I run alone. Way different than Black Filmmakers Matter, who I run with another person. So my producer, Sal from Mondi, the other person, he does the research, the telephone calls, the Instagram watches, and the social media watches, and I do the outside work like the phone calls, the setting up, the making sure everybody's okay. So when you have a 2-person team, all I can say is it's better than one. Now, with me working on the magazine by myself, it's far and few between. Like, I might have a guest, maybe 2 guests a month because I'm alone. But when you have a team, it's easier. So, in answering your question, how do I connect? Is through my producer who helps me,
Nice,
who
nice.
does all the hard work.
All right, all right. So let's bring it back to let's talk about some films a little bit, and then we'll come back to the podcast. So you worked
Okay.
on some short films. One of the short films called Unhinged. You was the writer and a director, and that film is a horror film. So you said horror is one of the interests that you have in genres, which is like horror, supernatural, and mystery. So is this your first horror film, and how was that experience working on a horror short film?
So, growing up, I've always been a horror buff and always interested in reading about the unknown. I just like the unknown. And my first feature film was maybe 10 years ago. And I'm still in the fear of showing people. I'm still in the editing. I think it's a beautiful movie. I'm just fearful. But this year, I'm going to get the backbone to show it. My short film, yes, Unhinged. I had to shoot, edit, sound. I had help with sound, direct by myself. So that project is very near and dear to me. It's about 12 minutes long, four actors in it. It took me approximately 2 days. I had to shoot it in 2 days. Um, I put it on Amazon and is doing pretty good. It's doing pretty good.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Awesome.
But I love horror.
All right. Would you say you have a favorite horror film, or maybe a director, like a horror director?
Heck yeah, horror film. Well, Stephen King is just my favorite horror person, writer, and I'm more into writing than movie directors. Unfortunately, I'm a writer. Um, my favorite movie is the old Exorcist, and there's a reason. It's always a story behind this because I know everybody knows the original Exorcist. When I was a child and that first came out, I wanted so bad to go see that movie. I wanted so bad. And my mother wouldn't let me. And I remember my father took me out one weekend and I tried to be slick. You know how we try to ask a parent one thing and they tell you no, so you try to ask the other parent. So I asked my father, I said, "Can we go see The Exorcist? I really want to see it." And he's like, "Now, you know, your mother said you're not supposed to go see that movie." So growing up, soon as I was able to see that movie, I saw that movie. And that is my all time. I mean, unlike horror movies today, think about it. The Exorcist and horror movies in that time went into depth about where the evil came from. It wasn't just a monster out of nowhere, just a creature, an alien. Movies back in the horror movies back in the day went into it. It came from the Bible, the Quran, the Torah. It went back into historical fields to explain the movie and where the beast or angel or whatever came from, which is what we're lacking now.
True. Very true. All right. All right. Um. Unhinged, you said is on where? Where's the streaming platform that the audience can find it at?
So Unhinged is on Amazon Prime, and like I said, guys, if I could keep my backbone going, pray for me. I want to show my feature film, my very first project, in October, Halloween.
All right. And your feature film. What's the title of that one, and what's that one about?
So it's called The Opening, and I actually have a novel on Amazon called The Opening, and it's based on that book, and it's about angels and demons, and how this woman has a stress relationship with her dad, and after he's murdered, and she starts digging to find how he was killed and why he was killed, she finds out that she's special because angels and demons are looking for her to control something she has.
Nice,
So it's
nice,
called The Opening, and it's on Amazon, and it's been on there for a couple of years. And the movie is coming. The movie, that's the movie I'm working on.
nice. You said the book is on Amazon.
Yes, The Opening.
The Opening. Go get the book. It's on Amazon. And so, are you gonna submit the film to film festivals, or how are you gonna get the film out there?
So I want to submit to film festivals now. I might talk to you about this later. I'm trying to get an idea. Should I make it a series, like a 3-part series, because there's enough for a 3-part series, or should I just push out the whole movie? Because today people are more into series and pieces, and so I'm trying to figure that part out. But
All right.
definitely, yeah, film festivals, yes, first.
Yeah, there's a lot of good film festivals out there. They definitely help. Yeah, definitely we can talk about that. Um, and so you have a web series as well. It's called Masters of Ascension.
Yes, Masters of Ascension.
All
my
right. So
daughter, yeah, my daughter was actually in that. She's never acted a day in her life, and this kid won 3 awards for that film.
oh, wow,
So
nice.
I got so busy. It's supposed to be a series, and I'm gonna go back into it. Right now, we have part 1. We're working on part 2, and yeah, it's probably gonna be like a 5-part series.
All right. All right. All right. So there we go. All right. So we got Masters of Ascension web series. And where can they watch that at?
On YouTube. All you got to
YouTube.
do is
All
type
right.
in my name, and my YouTube will come up.
All right. All right. So let's plug the audience in. Where can they find more about your work and check out some of your films, and where can they be on the lookout for the new feature film?
I am on IMDb, Instagram, Facebook, everything you can name, guys. I'm on there. www.coronadavisdiop.com, and that's for the A, guys. coronadavisdiop.com, and that's where all my work is.
All right. Go check that out. Check her out. All right. So born in Brooklyn. Let's Are you currently still residing in New York, or are you out of state? And how often, if you're not in New York, how often do you go back to the Big Apple?
I'm in New Jersey now. I actually moved to Atlanta in 2004. And I would say I've been back up north probably like 10 years, which is where I started filming and writing again. Um, New York City is not what it used to be. It's not. My family from Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, do or die Bed-Stuy. And
Mm-hmm.
you go and it's so commercial, Devin. Oh my God. It's just commercial. Okay, so you remember Crooklyn, right?
Mm-hmm.
The movie Crooklyn. That's where me and my parents grew up in. People, the children running around the sprinklers, kids jumping double dutch, kids in the street riding bikes and playing skelly. We don't have that anymore. We don't. It's not there. So, as in visiting New York is few and in between because I barely recognize it anymore.
Sounds like a movie.
Okay, now start no
Uh,
mess.
yeah. Hey, you're right. Those were some good times. And then, I mean, I remember. I mean, I grew up in Queens, but I will always go to Brooklyn in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And there were two different. You can tell where you're at.
Yeah.
Whether you're in Brooklyn or in Queens. Um,
Hey,
but yeah, hearing that it's changed and it's not the same. Yeah, it can be for better or for worse depending on how you're looking at it. Um, but yeah, times are different, and just wonder, what is it now that that is going on? That's not the tag in the building, or the monkey bars, or you know playing hopscotch, or climbing the trees,
mhm.
or even going to the park. The parks used to be like a lot of people at the parks. It's no
Yeah,
one
with
at
the
the
music
parks.
blaring from the windows and the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Uh-huh.
culture. You know what I'm saying?
hmm So it's like, now what is the culture?
Right,
Is it just on
right.
is it just on the phones, or is it on the tablets?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Where is it? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, interesting times. All right. Well, speaking of times from the past, let's talk about the future, filmmaking. Where do you see filmmaking in the next, 10 years, or even 5 years, 5 to 10 years?
It's like, where do I want to see it or where do I see it? Well,
Well, let's well both.
see,
Yeah.
I want to see Hollywood Part 2. I want to see a new Hollywood. I want it broken down, smashed to bits, and rebuilt. More fair, more diversity, less gatekeeping, um, just fair so we can see everybody's story. Why can't we see everybody's story? Like, everybody has a good story, but we're limited to the same stories over and over again. And out of billions of people in this world, I know there's more, but we're being limited, and I don't like it. So I wish, even as filmmakers, I wish we would fight a little more, travel a little more to talk to more people, to let's shake some shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's build, let's rebuild, let's build our own. We don't have to knock down nothing. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of studios that's been being built lately. Yeah, you have Tyler Perry has a studio.
Yeah,
50 Cent has a studio. I think there's this female director. She has a studio. I believe it's in the same state, Louisiana.
I know Queen
Um.
Latifah has one too
Oh
in
yeah,
New
yeah.
Jersey.
Queen Latifah got yeah, yeah. Yeah, and Queen Latifah, she's good friends with Jada Pinkett. And Jada Pinkett been in so many movies, right?
So many movies. Oh my God.
Yeah,
So I mean, we need to get the moving. It could
yeah,
be
yeah.
done.
Yeah, maybe it's there. It's just maybe it's just just taking it, it's taking some time, trying to build a
Yeah,
foundation.
yeah,
But yeah, I like to believe that there's optimism in that area for sure. But
yes,
yeah, you're right. It is hard. Yeah, we gotta, like you said, shake some shit up. Tell your story. Some people are
yeah,
waiting for someone else to tell their story. It's like that's your
yes.
story.
Yes.
Hmm.
Maybe I do need to tell my story.
Hey, put it out there. Yes, yes, yes. There's so many writers that they're recognized, but their stories is still not told. Their films are still not made, and it's not
Yes,
of how come it can't get made. Is you're the writer. Do you want this made?
mhm,
How can we make this? Guide whoever it is to make your film, because if no one has that guidance from you, then they're gonna make it their way, and
and
you're not going to be happy because it's not the way that you envision it.
that's right. That's right. We got to do the work. We complain about what we don't want to see, and they're doing too much of this and gatekeeping. Like, what are we doing down here? What are indies doing? Are we
Hmm.
having meetings? Are we having monthly meetings where there's 50 of us online talking about this? Maybe me and
Hmm.
you need to set something up.
Hey, that's what we're here for. That's what this platform is for. Yeah, any way we can help creators and ourselves. We go through our times, but we tend to do what we can to keep making it work, and
That's
that's what we
right.
do.
That's right.
All right. Anything else you wanna So this is usually we ask this question quite often. So
Mhm.
if there's any book, any TV, or any movie that you recommend that someone check out to kind of like find that creative juice that they're looking for.
There's a book I found. My husband took me to an old bookstore, and that's rare. Bookstores are rare, guys. Go to these old mom and pop bookstores and look at these film books from back in the day. They still stand good today. There's a book called Black Hollywood, and it's beautiful. And I don't remember who it's written by, but if you guys Google the book Black Hollywood, you would know that's the book I'm talking about. And it goes back to the day of like Harry Belafonte and the old actors. I ask that we do our research, that we learn from the Harry Belafontes and the Richard Pryors and the learn. We're not the first ones here. We have elders who have, you know, made a path for us. Do your research, network, ask questions. Don't be afraid. If you hear no, no is like the worst word, or you can't, use that as fuel. Use it as fire. Take it and put it in your gas tank, that no, and show them yes. I refuse to take
Yes,
no this
yes.
year.
Mm. Oh, you're right. I'm actually glad I never read. I'm gonna check out that book as well. But the actors that you mentioned from that book and from that time period. So it was called they was calling it black exploitation, where it was
Okay.
like around like the 70s, and the films where you had Foxy Brown, yeah,
Yeah.
those so Shaft,
Blackula.
yeah, yeah. So those films is I kind of find that interesting because like I was looking at the history myself around that period. That yes, there were a lot of black actors and black actresses getting films, but it seemed that they were making it because of what they I guess were thinking that I guess the the majority of the economy seen them as perceived them as to be, meaning that's not what they were. So
Right.
that's why I kind of was like, okay, we're exploiting ourselves to be something that we're not. But yet, to our community, we are pushing this stereotype that is not true. So
E-
it is
Yeah, even
blasphemy,
now,
but
2024.
it was a lot of open opportunity. So it was kind of an interesting time. Um, do you can I get some of your input on like that time period, or and what you know about that?
Yeah,
Uh,
because I grew up watching television. That's where, even though it was black exploitation, these people looked like me, and their stories I could, well, some of their stories I could gyrate with, and um, they're as I don't know the words, as messed up as it is, the things we had to deal with, the pimps, the prostitute roles, and we're just coming out of it. We're just coming out of it. In the UK, I interviewed a filmmaker. Do you know they're still making Boys in the Hood stuff?
uh,
That blew my mind. I'm like, we're in 2024. We're supposed to be done with the exploitation thing. And we're still in the UK, this day and age, making movies like Boys in the Hood. And I'm like, that's our fault. That's our fault because we're allowing it. We're allowing it. Who's making black? If we don't make them, they can't have them.
but with the filmmakers that we have now, I mean, when you are they being made and not being shown? Because there's a lot of filmmakers that is making film and has the capabilities,
Mm-hmm.
but yet to get them in an AMC or a Lowe's theater, I mean, Master P has the capabilities of making a film, and I haven't seen a Master P film in AMC in a long time. I understand
Right,
he's doing something else, but he has that capability.
right. I think the more power we get our hands with the internet and stuff and showing our things, the stronger that grasp is going to have to be in Hollywood because it's getting easier for us to build.
Mm.
We have the internet. There's really no excuse to not do a movie if you can do a movie. You don't have to wait for anybody. So now the gatekeeping has to really, because we're moving at a fast pace. You can't keep
Yeah,
you can't keep a door closed with weight piling up on it. If you get what I'm saying.
that's 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 true.
If there's a
That's true.
million people, if there's 500,000 filmmakers coming and we building, you can't keep the door shut forever.
Because there's a lot of
That's like,
filmmakers.
yeah, that's
That's a
like
lot of
science.
filmmakers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That door could push away but so much weight, And that's what I'm saying. Like together, we're so much weight, but we don't know how to click together instead of what do you call it? Either fighting each other or going against each other, challenging each other instead of coming together.
Collaborating. Let's collaborate.
That's it.
All right. All right. Anything else you want to say to the audience before we sign off today?
Um, it's been great. Thank you for having me. This is giving me something to think about. I like being. I'm used to asking the questions, so it's nice, having you. You gave me a chance to speak my mind. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Remember, you gave me the first podcast, and that opportunity, lit a light bulb over here. So, hey, great minds think alike, and hey, if we can inspire each other, let's keep that going.
Yeah, would
Right?
love to work on a short with you, man.
Yeah, definitely. We will do that. All right. Thank you. All right. Thanks for tuning in to Inside Plug. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found it inspiring. Remember, every journey begins with a single step, and every creator has a story worth sharing. If you love what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on insightplug.com. That's www.insightplug2gs.com. Your feedback helps us bring you more content. Until next time, keep creating. Devon Jones signing off. Stay inspired.